We've got the Lincoln Navigator.
She's a biggie. It's like a big ship.
It's got some good power, though.
Yeah.
It is a ship. It's a beast.
It's really a fancy pickup truck if you think about it. What's under the hood of this thing?
A twin turbo 3.5 liter V6 with a 10-speed automatic transmission. 440 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. Standard full-time four-wheel drive.
Wait a second, that's the same engine they do put in a pickup truck.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into what do you get with this? What are the key standard features?
The Navigator comes with a 13.2-inch touchscreen with Sync 4, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a 12-inch LCD instrument cluster, 360-degree camera, a head-up display, wireless charger, heated steering wheel, 24-way heated and ventilated leather front seats with memory, 14-speaker Revel audio system, panoramic sunroof with shade, power liftgate, Lincoln Copilot 360 2.0, and Blue Cruise 1.0.
Well, look, Andrea, our favorite kind of gear selector with the little floppy toggle things.
I know.
What are we going to put it in?
We got to put it in S for subscribe. And if you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the couple car review twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So make sure to like and subscribe, but you have to insist that you follow along on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrea to see what's going on behind the scenes, and also to get a question in. More on that halfway through the video. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button.
Just adjusting my seat again, trying to make myself a little comfortable. Coming up in Questions, Coffee, and Cars, we talk about these seats, so stick around for that.
They look good anyway. So we are in the largest of the Lincolns, built on the F-150 platform. They have the Ford version. Are you enjoying your Lincoln experience like Matthew McConaughey?
I know. I'd like to meet Matthew so we
Oh,
could
I'm sure you would.
discuss it.
I'm sure you would like to meet him.
I would say that as a driving enthusiast, it doesn't excite me. But I think for that more traditional luxury feel, I can understand why people would enjoy this more of a comfortable ride, I would say, smooth, more refined, quiet cabin. But this is interesting because it doesn't have air suspension, so it doesn't necessarily soak up all those bumps in the road either.
I think what it's doing is the initial damping is absorbing the smaller bumps, and then the larger bumps, you feel it, so you get that road feel. And when you do use the adjustable suspension, it does make a difference.
Yeah.
But let's just unbox why you would want this. Okay, first of all, you want a luxury mark, so you want the fancy seats and all that kind of stuff, but you really want a body-on-frame truck to tow and to move a lot of people around, and they've got that part of it covered.
Nailed.
We're going to talk about the seats in a moment, but that comes with a bit of a sacrifice, driving such a big beast.
For sure. And also the steering is quite vague on this model. You've got this big steering wheel. It's just not very precise. So you have to go into this when you're interested in a Navigator that you're just going to drive around and you're just going to have cruise, take your time. You're going to be a beast on the road. No one's going to get in your way.
Yeah, but
does a lot of that well.
If you do take off in this thing, boy, the engine has got a lot of power. And that's the other thing is when you get into this snack bracket, and put your seatbelt on now, like early,
Yeah.
because we're going to get into the price of this and its competitors. And man, these body-on-frame luxury trucks have gotten spendy.
And you know what? The V6 and the 10-speed automatic transmission work really well together. It's quick shifting. You'll always have enough power in this vehicle.
Well, Lincoln doesn't quite make the same statement that Cadillac does with the Escalade. They've got the huge grille, and they've got those vertical daytime running lights that really make a statement. This is more conservative looking on the outside.
I think that it has a really great stately looking design. I like the back end on it. I actually like that it's not as out there with all the chrome as Cadillac uses in their Escalade and really all of their models. So I really like the subdued look of this. The Navigator gets 9.6 inches of ground clearance and comes standard with LED lighting, LED fog lights, a bright chrome surround grille. There's standard illuminated power running boards, a chrome roof rack, dual exhaust system, standard 22-inch wheels with different wheel designs, and an 18-inch temporary spare tire. In the US, since there are more trims available, 20-inch wheels are standard.
So you said they kind of toned down the chrome on the outside?
Yeah.
Well, they saved it all for the inside. So there's lots of chrome in here, and I think it's quite tastefully done. I like the center console. It's got this kind of yacht feel to it. We talked about the flappy toggle switches for the transmission. Not my favorite, but I will say, Andrea, with familiarity, it becomes more usable because it's your car and it's second nature. Not what I would like, though. I would like something else other than that.
Really where Lincoln nails it is the layout of this vehicle. You've got this floating center console so you can put a bag underneath. You've got wide side door storage pockets. You've got a great layout in the rear with piles of space. I mean, that third row is actually comfortable for a 3-row SUV. And the second row, you've got different configurations. So you can get a bench seat, but you could also go with captain's chairs with or without the fixed center console. So there's a lot of options here for this people mover.
Okay, so quick story. We had the Ford version of this, same layout basically, the Ford Expedition, and we were on a long road trip up into the interior British Columbia, and our friends who we were going with, they had a flat and they couldn't get it repaired. So we had our family of 4, and we picked up 3 of that family, and they're all tall people.
Yeah.
They're all over 6 feet tall, and 3 tall people in the third row. Tall mom here, and you know what? It was, and all their extra bags that they had to pack in.
Yeah.
And we drove, and I said, well, after an hour, I'll stop and everybody can rotate and get a better seat. And after the first hour, I said, you guys want to stop and rotate? They said, in the third row, they go, no, we're perfectly fine. And they're over 6 feet.
Yeah, they were really comfortable. So as a people hauler, they do a really good job. Some were asking about the wood trim in here. Does it seem old-fashioned? Well, in some ways, but it is beautiful wood.
The color's nice.
Yeah, the color's nice. And also you can go with a lighter color interior, and then that changes the wood color as well. But other than that, you do get wood. And I'd also like to point out that you will be hard-pressed to find any hard plastic in here. This thing really feels luxurious. Lincoln's done a nice job with that. And Zach, how about these heated seats? Like, they are really toasty warm.
They're nice. I'm liking it over here. You're right. Even the bottom of the door cards is the soft material.
Try and find any.
As it should be.
Yeah.
There's a bit of shiny hard plastic here and there, but that's a pass because it's just an accent.
I also think that the infotainment system in here is very good. The graphics are crisp and clear. Ford, Lincoln, they know how to do an easy to use infotainment system.
All right, here's me getting in the back seat. This one has the big center console in between the 2 captain's chairs, which is really limiting for getting kids quickly into the third row. How does it stack up?
Comparing the Navigator to the Cadillac Escalade, the Navigator gets 43.9 inches of front row legroom and 41.1 inches of second row legroom, which is about half an inch less than the Escalade.
We touched on it already. One of the highlights of this vehicle is the amount of space in the third row.
Third row legroom in the Navigator is 36.1 inches, which is over an inch more than the Cadillac.
Lift the power tailgate and you get a fairly useful cargo space when all of the seats are up. There's a power operated third row. You can drop the seats down. There's a power release for the second row, and once you do all that, it's enormous.
Space behind the third row is 19.3 cubic feet. Space behind the second row, 57.5 cubic feet. And overall cargo space, 103.3 cubic feet, but all less than the Cadillac.
Well, you want to know what is the best thing about this? It's the stereo, and you've got a good question about it.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
How does the sound system compare to the one you would find in the Cadillac Escalade? Well, we really like that one. That's an AKG system. This is Revel.
Yeah, okay, so they have a different attitude with the Cadillac. I thought it was probably the best sound system I've ever heard. And the big difference is they have these speakers on either side of the headrest in the Cadillac, and they don't blast your ears. They just fill in the sound a little bit. So with the Revel system, they have speakers. There's a speaker grate here and speakers all around the cabin. I would rank these two of the best, and I played the same track on both. I remembered what it was.
Yeah.
And I think the Cadillac just gets the edge a little bit.
But really very good. This has a standard 14 speaker audio system, but you can also get a 28 speaker audio system. So it really is terrific in this model as well.
Yeah, it's amazing what they can do. It's amazing.
How in the world do those seats work? Are you even able to get comfortable in them and find a good driving position? It looks way too confusing.
How do they work? How do they work for Andrea? They don't work well for Andrea.
Okay, where do I start? It comes standard with 24-way, available 30-way. It's not that the seats, okay, they're cushioned. It's this bolstering here. On the passenger side, I have got it on the lowest setting, and it is just so uncomfortable for me. I figured out the driver's side, it's a little bit better with that bolstering, but other than that, I mean, I just feel like I can't get in a good position. I've put the seat back, I've put it up, I've done it here, I've done it in the screen.
The massage feature is good. That's pretty cool.
Massaging is good.
We have had very mixed results with the Lincoln heavily adjustable seats. The first vehicle we ever had was the Lincoln Continental. And we did a 4-hour drive from here up into the interior British Columbia. And Andrea and I both came away saying it's a bit gimmicky and they weren't that comfortable.
No.
And we're kind of picking up on that theme again. I wonder if that bolster is malfunctioning and it's not going down enough.
Maybe in the screen it goes all the way up.
Because this is fine over here.
So the first thing I did when I picked up this vehicle, I got in that side and I was like, okay, the bolstering is just way too much for me. So I went in the screen, I turned the bolstering all the way down. I kind of figured it out in that seat. It's okay, it's livable. This one, I don't know. I need a Lincoln product planner
the other
with
thing?
me about these seats.
I hate the adjustments on the door. I know there's going to be people who say, I love them. I hate them. They should be here because they mirror what you're doing. You push it forward, it goes forward. Anyway, there you go on the seats.
What's your opinion on long-term reliability of Lincoln?
Well, don't listen to us. Listen to the numbers. The numbers aren't particularly good, are they, Andrea?
Well, J.D. Power in its recent dependability study for 2023 has Lincoln at the bottom. Consumer Reports is not much better for Ford and Lincoln. It's not good. In 2022, Consumer Reports gave Lincoln a much better score. And from what I read, it's based on the Corsair being very reliable. But after that, things went downhill.
And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
Their price points are ridiculous. There are so many more quality options out there that are much better than this vehicle.
So I don't know if you know this, Andrea, but prices of cars and trucks have gone up lately.
Yeah, they certainly have.
It's a little thing called inflation. So this reserve is roughly $120,000 in Canada and $95,000 in the United States. Now that's an enormous amount of money for really what is a fancy pickup truck. But, and we're going to do it in a moment, when you compare it to its competitors, they're all wackadoodle in price.
Yeah, they're all really expensive. Here's a perfect example. So back in 2021, when Zach and I reviewed the Cadillac Escalade, it was priced at under $90,000 Canadian. And now it's almost $116,000 Canadian. A lot has changed. Now, if you look at the BMW X7, by the time you get all those add-ons, you're looking at more like $150,000 Canadian. So this really isn't overpriced for what you get, believe it or not.
You know the value? If you want a luxury one, you get the Infiniti QX80, which is a body-on-frame truck like this, has a V8, horrible on gas, but you're going to save money buying it because it's cheaper and you can put that towards the fuel. That one is going to get redone, and apparently this one's going to get redone as well next year. So yeah, if you want a body-on-frame luxury SUV, you got to spend.
Yeah.
All right, so what's coming up in a moment is the comparison with all of those. That's the base price.
Yep.
Right now, the price of this and more in our vital stats.
Let's start with pricing. We'll do Canada first and then move on to the US. The Reserve model starts at just under $121,000. And in the US, the Premier starts at just over $82,500. The Black Label model is almost $111,000.
Here's the fuel economy. It's not great. 15 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 11 on the highway. That's 16 miles per gallon in the city, 22 miles per gallon highway. It can tow, though, 8,300 pounds. The warranty is 4 years, 80,000 kilometers or 50,000 miles. In the United States, complimentary scheduled maintenance is covered for 1 year unless you buy the Black Label, and then you get 4 years. So you want a luxury SUV that has 3 rows and can tow and stuff? Here's 4 to consider.
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is a Cadillac Escalade with a 6.2-liter V8, 420 horsepower and a starting price over $115,000.
The Jeep Grand Wagoneer with a 3-liter twin-turbo inline 6-cylinder, 510 horsepower and a starting price $131,000.
The BMW X7 with a 3-liter turbocharged inline 6, 375 horsepower and a starting price over $111,000.
The Mercedes-Benz GLS with a 3-liter turbo inline 6-cylinder, 375 horsepower and a starting price over $116,000.
So there are 4 3-row luxury SUVs for you to consider.
Lightning round. 2 things we like. 2 things we like to see improve.
I love the layout in this as a people mover.
It's very capable.
What I'd like some help with are these seats on the passenger side. Much better on the driver. I figured that one out. I need some help over here.
I think for this price, it should come with air suspension like much of the competition. All right, we're all done with the Lincoln. Andrea?
Yeah.
You know what I have to say goodbye?
What? It really is a beast on wheels. I had to parallel park this thing. Guess what, guys? Nailed it.
Like a boss.
See you next time.